Hey everyone, and welcome back to another English-only episode of the台本なし英会話レッスンpodcast. I'm Reilly. My Instagram is Reilly Sullivan XD, and Sota's Instagram is eigo no sota. So it's almost Golden Week. I hope everyone is looking forward to a little bit of time off and can spend some time with their friends and family. I myself am going to go on a little bit of a trip to Osaka with some friends. Maybe we'll see a concert or something like that. Definitely going to eat a lot of food that we can't get in Takamatsu very easily. Yeah, it should be a good time. I hope everyone else is gonna do something fun. Anyway, so this will be the third and final installment of the Shimanami Kaido story. So without further ado, let's go! Alright, so when I left off a few weeks ago, Jordan, Ikumi, and I had just finished the main part of the Shimanami Kaido, and we had come into sight of the beautiful town of Onomichi. And the kind of weird thing about the Shimanami Kaido is that it's all these bridges coming from, Shikoku all the way across the Seto Inland Sea. But the very last bridge is cars only. So anybody on a bike has to take a ferry for the last little tiny bit of water between the northernmost island and Onomichi. So we get on a ferry, we cross over, and we're finally in Hiroshima. Or actually, maybe some of the islands are Hiroshima too, but we're finally on Honshu, on the mainland. And at this point, we've been out in the rain for 6 hours, maybe more. So we're completely wet, especially our shoes. Our shoes are just absolutely soaked through. Our socks are wet. It's pretty miserable at this point, to be honest. So the first thing we did was go somewhere to get warm, and the closest place that we could see from the ferry stop, I guess, was Mr. Donuts. And yeah, to be honest, I don't usually love Mr. Donuts. I think the donuts are kind of bland, don't have a lot of flavor to them. But on this day, when we're cold and wet, and we get a coffee and a donut, it was delicious and really warmed us up and made us feel better. But after doing that, we realized, our feet are still wet, our clothes are still wet, so we saw that there was a mall kind of near the station in the town, and in the mall there was a Daiso, so we decided that we were going to go and buy some new socks and sandals or something from Daiso. So we did that, and we're walking around, and the whole time we're kind of embarrassed to be inside anywhere because we're just so wet, and our shoes are squelching. Whenever you make a step with wet shoes, they make a sound, kind of I don't know, almost like a sponge being squeezed or something like that. So we're kind of trying to hurry to get new socks, and I think we all got 100 yen sandals or something like that, just something to walk around with that would be dry for the next few hours. And so we did that. We changed. I think we must have put our old socks and shoes into a plastic bag or something, and then put them in our regular bags. But then anyway, we get out of Daiso, and we finally meet back up with Aaron and Olivia, who at this point had finished the trip, and were in Onomichi as well. So we meet them, and then we immediately want to go get some kind of dinner. I forget what time it is at this point, but probably like the sun's just about going down, maybe, 6 or a little earlier, something like that. And so we wanted to get some onomichi ramen, which you probably know is pretty famous. So in this same kind of mall area, there was some branch of what I guess was a famous ramen shop, and we went there, had some ramen and some fried chicken, and yeah, it was really good. It wasn't my first time having onomichi ramen. I've done the Shimanami Kaido a few times, and the times before that, we went to another shop more like in the old part of the town rather than in this kind of like mall station area. But both times it was delicious. Then after that, we kind of realized that we had to get ready to go after eating the ramen, I mean. And I knew that because from my previous few times doing the ride and being in Onomichi, I knew that Onomichi kind of goes to sleep almost as soon as the sun comes down. On previous trips, we had gotten in a little bit later, maybe like 7 or 7:30, and on that trip, we were staying in a hotel in Onomichi, or like a hostel, I guess you could say. So we dropped off our bags, dropped off our bikes at the hostel, and then went out to go get some dinner. At this point, it's maybe 8 o'clock, which I think in most cities at 8 o'clock, there will be most restaurants will be open, right? Like, most dinner goes at least until 9, if not 10 or later, right? But in Onomichi, every restaurant we went to at 8 o'clock was closed. There was a ramen shop near our hostel that was actually not closed because it was too late, but wasn't going to open yet for another half hour or so. But anyway, that's a different story. So back to Aaron, Jordan, Olivia, and Ikumi's story is we're getting out of the ramen shop and we're thinking about going home. The rest of them had rented bikes, so they had to go return their bikes to the parking lot or wherever it was. And I had to put my bike, take it apart and put it back into the bag so I could carry it onto the train. Again, in previous rides, it was easier for all of us who had bicycles to ride up to the Shinkansen station, which is a little bit north of the actual town of Onomichi. But this time, because most of the other people had just returned their bikes, I just put mine in a bag and we took the local Onomichi train to, I want to say Fukuyama was the next Shinkansen stop. I don't remember, but anyway, we got on the Shinkansen there and then took that to Okayama and then transferred to the marine liner to go back to Takamatsu. But my bike bag was like kind of so big and cumbersome that walking around the crowded Okayama station was kind of tough, and there were escalators, but carrying a bike bag onto a busy escalator felt too, like, I don't know, annoying to everybody. It felt like I was being a nuisance to everybody else who was riding the escalator. So I decided to take the stairs. And it just, I don't know. I was really tired. So this last little trip down the stairs to the platform was like super tiring. So I don't know. It stands out in my memory. But yeah. Anyway, we waited for the marine liner to go from Okayama back to Takamatsu, and every time I ride the marine liner, it's super crowded. So I knew that was going to be the case, but even so, with the big bike bag, there's not really a good place to put it if you sit in a regular seat. So, I sat in the the kind of middle 4 seats by the doors and tried to put my bike as much as possible underneath the seat so it would be out of the way. I think it was still definitely in the way of some people, but it was the best I could do. But yeah, nobody seemed to get angry at least, so I don't know, that's good. So we took the train back. It's about an hour or so. I'm sure we all fell asleep on the train. But when we got back to Takamatsu, we got off. And it wasn't raining anymore. It was weird. This entire last almost 24 hours, it had been raining. And as soon as we get back to Takamatsu, it was a nice clear night, good weather. And so I put my bike back together, said goodbye to everybody else, and rode home. And immediately went to sleep and got a very good night's rest. And yeah, that's the whole story of my Shimanami Kaido trip. Thanks for listening, and I'll see you next time. Bye.